Play some other types of music. So continue your conversations. Thank you. Go ahead and have a conversation. You need to stop the conversation. That song is very important. Brown Eyed Children of the Sun, written by a farm worker by name Liliana Soto. So we're going to share some of these songs that have a message about what this evening is all about. Here's another beautiful song by Liliana Soto, about his daughter, and something about the farm workers movement, and it's about reconnecting to our land, reconnecting to our indigenous experience. So this next song talks about the natural world. One of my favorite songs to sing. We're just waiting for the chimes to chime in.
Okay, chime in.
see what. We're gonna play one song. We're gonna play one song to introduce the whole event, so people should listen to this one.
No, you.
Welcome, everyone. A warm welcome to all of you who were able to join us this afternoon. We have a very important program to start. You've enjoyed listening to the wonderful music, and I think our musicians are going to play one more song to sort of as a ceremonial beginning to the program.
This next song reminds me of all the pictures that I saw.
A lot of beautiful music was written during the farm workers movement in the 60s and 70s. So that's what we'd like to share with you tonight. And one of them is a beautiful song that was written in honor of Cesar Chavez called Mañana es Now.
Thank you very much to our musicians, Emilio Hernandez, Janie Smith, and Jim Garcia for a wonderful beginning to our program this afternoon. So again, good afternoon and a very warm welcome to members of the university community, civic leaders from across the region, including Mayor Kitty Piercy, Superintendent Susan Castillo, and Commissioners Rob Handy and Pete Sorensen, and to the leadership of Pineros y Campesinos Unidos del Noreste, we say PCUN, translated the Northwest Tree Planters, and Farm Workers United. I'm Deb Carver, and I have the great privilege of serving as Dean of the University of Oregon Library and to officiate in today's historic moment. We're here to celebrate the beginnings of a new and important relationship between the University of Oregon and PCUN, and by extension, the entire Latina and Latino community in the state of Oregon. PCUN, as you know, is Oregon's largest Latino organization and has a long and distinguished history in labor relations and in support services for immigrant populations. This important relationship is symbolized by the gifting of PCUN's archives, their historical record, to the University of Oregon Library. So please understand that this is more than a transfer of papers. It is an act of trust. And we as librarians, as archivists, and as scholars are deeply honored to have that trust bestowed on your university. Before I introduce the speakers this afternoon, I want to recognize a few individuals who have invested so much of their time and their vision into building this important relationship. First, Lynn Stephen, Distinguished Professor of Anthropology and Director of the Center for Latino and Latin American Studies here at the University of Oregon. Lynn's work centers on the intersection of culture and politics in the United States and in Latin America. Over the past 11 years, she has researched and written on the history of PCUN. She and her students, many of them are here today, have worked with the PCUN papers and led field research projects connected with the organization. Lynn really has been instrumental in bringing us here today to celebrate this important moment. Larry Klayman. Larry is the Secretary and Treasurer of PCUN, and he has helped us all understand the significance of this deed of gift and its potential to open up new opportunities between the University of Oregon and the Latino communities. Larry has served as the historian of PCUN and has been a longtime custodian of PCUN's papers and other historical materials in Woodburn. James Fox, our Director of Special Collections and University Archives, my colleague, who was the first to recognize the importance of this archive from the university's perspective and the need for it to be preserved in perpetuity in the research library, accessible to stakeholders, to students, and to scholars. And Gabriela Martinez, Associate Professor of Journalism and Communications and award-winning documentary filmmaker. Gabriela and her students have worked with PCUN over the past several months to document PCUN radio programs and to help preserve the video documentary record of PCUN. Gabriela and Lynn Stephen have also developed and directed the Latino Roots Project, which we are also here to celebrate today. Began 2 years ago with a museum exhibit, a film, and a bilingual history book, the project now includes 2 courses. Today, many of our 18 students to complete the courses will be archiving into the library their original documentaries and associated oral histories materials and their stories of 18 Latino families in Oregon. and many of those families are with us this afternoon. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce two very important people in the state of Oregon. First, we will hear from U of O President Richard Lariviere. President Lariviere was the first in his family to graduate from college and is passionate about the life-transforming power of public higher education. Richard spent much of his first year here in Oregon on the road, so to speak, meeting with Oregon's community leaders, talking to parents, and spending time with young people in the public schools. Excellent and affordable higher education is the key to a healthy future, and that has certainly been the focal point of his presidency. I'll introduce all three speakers, and then I will step aside. Next, we will hear from Ramon Ramirez, President of PCUN. In 1985, President Ramirez helped create the history-making union that has grown from 80 members to several thousand members. Through his tireless and focused leadership, Oregon's farm workers have realized key rights and basic protections that many of us assume are universal. He is the recipient of many honors, including the prestigious National Award given by the Ford Foundation's Leadership for a Changing World. Like President Lariviere, he is a passionate advocate for young people. And our final speaker today is Liliana Soto. Ms. Soto is a graduating U of O senior majoring in political science and ethnic studies. She is a McNair Scholar whose research on manners and customs in Oaxaca was recently published in the University of Oregon McNair Research Journal. Lidi is one of the 18 students who recently completed the Latino Roots courses and produced a documentary video about her mother, Rosalinda Morales. So I'd like to invite President Lariviere to the podium.
No, I'm not President Lariviere. But the students who helped us move the equipment, we need to help us get back up to the next stage of this whole show. So the students, please help us. I know who you are. Come, I see your face. Thank you very much. Excuse me.
That's quite all right. The show must go on.
That's right. We didn't rehearse this part.
Well, thank you very much, Deb, for that introduction. President Ramirez, on behalf of the University of Oregon, thank you for this extraordinary gift. The PCUN documents are a wonderful opportunity for us to learn about people who have made enormous contributions to our state. It's fitting that this collection will live at our state's flagship university. Why? First, this is important to the next generation, to the growing number of Latino students coming out of Oregon high schools. Their history and their families' histories are Oregon's history. And one day we will pass tuition equity legislation in this state, to ensure has the opportunity to access excellent public education. Second, the PCUN collection is a rich learning tool for our faculty and students in the broader community. Our library collections are an important way that we serve this state. And finally, this is important to the state of Oregon and its leaders to help us all better understand the historical factors that influence economic development in this state. Our economy has been and probably always will be tied to the land. Balancing our need to both effectively utilize and preserve precious resources tied to the fields and forests will always be a challenge. Developing an understanding about some of the people whose efforts and struggles made economic development of natural resources in Oregon possible better positions all policymakers to address this challenge. Will all of the documents in this collection make us feel good about ourselves as Oregonians? No. And that is exactly why we need them. Learning about the path that led us here helps us to see a new path forward. President Ramirez, once again, thank you.
Sí se puede. It's a real honor for PCUN to receive this recognition, and also to be able to share and develop a partnership with the University of Oregon for the very things that you mentioned. Is that we want to be able to develop the kind of leadership in our communities that are going to make a difference. And this is the right institution to place those papers and those documents and the visuals and the videos. But most importantly is the learning experience that future generations will gain from the hard work that not only PCUNistas did over the last 25 years to improve the living and working conditions of farm workers, but also all those people, and I want to throw a special shout out to the hundreds of students that literally, if you look at the photos, I was looking at the photos of the display of the project and the documentaries. You'll see literally hundreds of students from the University of Oregon, especially Mechistas from the University of Oregon, who contributed greatly to making PCUN what it is today. So a special shout out to you folks. We've enjoyed a very important relationship with the LERC, the Labor and Education Center here at the University of Oregon. And it makes us proud to be part of their family. I sit on their advisory committee, and it makes us proud to be part of that institution because we truly believe that institution is really bringing about leadership, not only in Eugene at the University of Oregon, but throughout the state. Special shout out goes to Lynn Stevens and the Latin American Studies Department for all the hard work that they've done over the years. I remember that one of the first things that Lynn Stevens did was wanted to write the history of PCUN. Because I think part of what's missing in the Latino experience in the state is documenting like where our community has been. A lot of people come to PCUN and think that we were the first organization of farm workers in the state, and that is not true. People have been trying to organize farm workers for a long time. The problem is that their efforts that were done back then were not documented. So we've lost a historical record that's important. We were able to put together pieces of that puzzle because we knew some of the organizers. We knew some of the workers, in fact, that went out on strike back in the 60s and 70s in the state of Oregon, and we were able to recreate that history. But we should never lose it again, right? And that's why it's important to have this partnership and host the documents. Thank you. I also want to say that we've also enjoyed a long-standing relationship with the Wayne Morris Center for Law and Politics. I want a special shout out to you folks. We've been coming here to the university for a number of years, participating in forums, symposiums, and conferences, I would say for the last 15 years. So thank you very much for all the support. And I also want to do a special shout out to all the Eugene community and those community organizations who have been with us year in and year out. I want to send out a special shout out to Calc, who've been here for many, many years, helping us Chicano, Centro Chicano Americano, that started off as the Chicano Affairs Center. Now they're the Latin American Center here in Eugene. A special shout out to you folks and all the dozens of organizing and organizers and community activists in Eugene have supported PCUN's work over the years. This is an important event for us also because, you know, this is the right institution. This is the right place to house our documents. This is a living documentation. Our work is not finished, right? This year, we're going to finish our institute, our leadership institute called Capaces, right? And we are going to share the documents from all the efforts that we put to develop that leadership institute to continue the work of PCUN after Larry and myself and all these other organizers are gone, because we want to make sure that the union lives on, that the work of the farm workers live on. And we truly believe that the Knight Library and the University of Oregon, this is the place where it needs to be. We need to share our organizing models. One of the things that PCUN has done over the last 25 years, is not only become a model for organizing in the state of Oregon, but we've become a model of organizing for the country. Just recently we had the Association of Farm Workers from Florida, Orlando, Florida, come and spend 4 days with us. We're getting a new group. We're getting a group from New York City coming to visit us in September. We've had folks from different parts of the country come and learn about our model, our organizing model. And we want to be able to share that with all the community, with all folks that want to learn about how to do successful organizing. Right? They can come here to the Knight Library and they can learn from our experience because we would have documented it. So we're really appreciated, President, for all the hard work and the library, the leadership of the library for housing, developing this partnership. I know it's a two-way street, and we're going to shoulder our responsibilities to make sure that those documents get to you and in turn get to the broader community. And we will encourage also our sister organizations. We have 8 sister organizations which we consider are part of the Capaces Leadership Institute. They are the Mano Mano Family Center, Latinos Unidos Siempre, Farm Worker Housing Development Corporation, which we have our director here, Rob Jimenez. Rob, can you raise up your hand? Un aplauso. We also have a leader from Voz Hispana. We have Alejandra Lili. Raise your hand up, Alejandra. We have the Causa, the Statewide Immigrant Rights Coalition. We have in representation Lorena Manso, please. We have our women's organization, Mujeres Luchadoras, Progresistas. We have back there, can you raise your hand? And we also have a representative from Latinos Unidos Siempre, Mano Mano Family Center. We have Oscar Ramos. And then we have the Salem Kaiser Coalition for Equality, and those are the organizations that make up our sister organization, and we will get them also to participate in this process, to send documentation, and that's the beauty of this. It doesn't stop here. You know, this is the beginning of a long-term relationship, and I'll tell you, the folks here in Eugene, you got it made, because you're going to be here and you're going to be able to share it, and I'm sure all Oregonians, all the Latino youth, I get tons. The thing that for me is a blessing. I'll tell you why. Because I get calls, especially this time of year, from tons of students from all over the state, in colleges, in junior high schools, in universities, who are asking me, can you please help me with my senior paper, or with my graduation paper, or my theses. And I literally get tons of calls. I probably get maybe 10, 15, 20 calls towards the end of the year, every year, year in and year out. And now I have a place to refer them to. And I'm actually doing PR work for the University of Oregon, right? So to encourage people to come here because this is a place where our documentations are going to be home. Thank you very much. Sí se puede.
Hello. I have a little written piece. It might go over 5 minutes, so bear with me. My name is Liliana Soto, and I'm a graduating senior at the University of Oregon, and I'm majoring in ethnic studies and political science. I had the opportunity to be part of the Latino Roots course that produced the videos that you're going to see in display upstairs in special collections. So our Latino Roots course brought 18 students over 2 quarters, winter and spring term. And during that time, we learned the racial and ethnic history of Oregon we went back about 500 years, and we learned about the place of Latino and Latin American history in that larger Oregon story. We also learned how to conduct oral history interviews and how to work a camera. And then we identified individuals or family members whose story we have documented. We recorded audio interviews and then video interviews. And this quarter, during the second class of the sequence, we learned how to shoot and edit our videos and have produced original 10-minute documentaries that we're going to present today. We're going to be archiving the audio, video, and the transcripts, and also the complete packet with the university archives and special collections. And so we're literally making history. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up in Mount Angel and worked the fertile Willamette Valley alongside my family for many summers. Mount Angel is home to the Oktoberfest, a traditional harvest festival that celebrates the bounty of the earth and the goodness of creation. And at one point, Mount Angel was also home to Colegio Cesar Chavez, a college without walls, whose student population was composed of those who labored the earth in Mount Angel and the surrounding farming community. So because the Oktoberfest celebrated this traditional harvest festival, I think that partnership worked really well. Unfortunately, Colegio Cesar Chavez closed its door after 10 years in 1983. It was the first 4-year independent accredited Chicano college in the U.S., and in 1977, the Colegio granted degrees to 22 graduates, a number that exceeded the combined number of Chicanos who graduated the same year from the University of Oregon and Oregon State University. And I discovered all of this only after I came to the University of Oregon. Mount Angel is not only a critical symbol of continued presence of Latino farm workers. Mount Angel, a small Bavarian village, also witnessed the trials and tribulations of the early struggle for farm worker rights, a struggle that would give birth to PCUN first, as the Willamette Valley Migration Project in 1977, and then in 1985 as PCUN. Since PCUN's founding, the history and accomplishments of this Latino organization have grown remarkably. Today we're here to celebrate the partnership between PCUN and the University of Oregon through the transfer of PCUN's archives, the rich archives for the preservation in our library. However, as my earlier anecdote shows, the rich histories of many of these communities lies dormant, and many Oregonians know little of this history. And much like the fertile Willamette Valley, Oregon's rich Latino history is waiting for laboring hands of students and researchers. So I was very happy to find that Professor Stephen had conducted research in the Woodburn area for many, many years, and she had spent a considerable amount of time going through the PCUN archives and working with PCUN on a variety of research projects. And similarly, Professor Martinez has a more recent relationship with PCUN, but she's equally interested in the archives, having already helped with the preservation of 2 important documentaries produced by PCUN, A Raise Now and Our Struggle for Justice. I congratulate the University of Oregon for recognizing the need to learn more about PCUN and about these histories, and about the histories these archives hold, as well as the other histories we have been documenting in our Latino Roots classes. These archives are going to be the foundation for future researchers, both students and faculty, and the PCUN papers and the Latino Roots stories are going to provide alternative lenses for those studying Oregon's history here at the University of Oregon and at institutions nationally and internationally. Information that we as students have recorded in our Latino Roots classes already offer rich stories that will contribute to our understanding of the struggle that Latinos in Oregon face, as well as the knowledge about how Latinos have existed and settled in what is now the state of Oregon, and also how they are active agents for change. The PCUN-UO Partnership shows that we're very aware of our changing state, and our university is willing to engage with these commitments early on. In my time here, a lot of the material we read was coming from the Southwest, so it's very exciting and refreshing to compile historical resources on Latino communities from the Pacific Northwest and particularly our state. We're tapping into a wealth of information by breeding 3 distinct groups into these projects. First, the academic community at the University of Oregon. Second, community organizations, and in this case, PCUN. And third, the individual Latinos and Latino families whose stories we have documented as students here in the Latino Roots classes. By weaving these 3 groups of people and information, and the information they have brought to the table gives us a rich framework from which to analyze the social and political history that's been written in the state. I believe that this benefits not only Latino students and faculty at the University of Oregon, but non-Latinos as well, as it provides a research framework with the potential for immense personal growth and transformation and reflection. I asked my classmates about what they were leaving the Latino Roots classes with, and I received some very insightful answers that reflect the intense process that we have gone through for the past 5 months. These thoughts all reflect different aspects of our learning. Lisa Rumler, for example, remembers how difficult it was to learn about the past law in Oregon that forbade Black people from living in the state and subjected them to a public whipping and a fine for breaking this law. This and other knowledge about the racial and ethnic history of the state has led to a lot of very candid conversations in our class. Ivan Sandoval Cervantes pointed out that during our first semester we had a really important turning point on the day when we were asked to talk about identities, labels that we've heard or that we live every day. It was a turning point, he said, because it marked the day when we were able to start speaking in a personal way about subjects that are only dealt with in academic and formal settings. For Ivan, one thing that struck him as the class moved forward was the way that people began to develop an intimate relationship with their peers as they tackled difficult themes around immigration, deportation, and racism. Like Lizzie Miskell says, we're able to forge new friendships where we had only acquaintances before, both with our classmates and with the community members or family members that we interviewed. Scott Erdman says that he leaves the class with a sense of purpose, a deeper respect for those who migrate to make a better life, and a developed sense for curiosity about his own family's history. I'm very honored to have taken part in this course that brought together students from multiple departments and schools, including anthropology, ethnic studies, Latin American studies, journalism, and communications in Spanish, to name a few. I feel very lucky to be part of this group. I'm leaving this class with a lot of people who I can now call friends. Classmates, I'm going to remember all the conversations, the stories, and the long nights of labor in the cinema studies lab where we worked our movies endlessly. I know that this class has taught you all the tricks of the trade, how to do archival research, conduct oral history interviews, doing ethnographic methods, and documentary filmmaking. And I look forward to your future work. I'm excited to know that other students might be able to receive this kind of training in the future. I call upon those of you who help to determine what kind of courses are developed, funded, and institutionalized to give other students in the future the chance to take the Latino Roots courses. The kind of training we have received and the intense learning we have engaged in together should be imparted to more students in the future. The idea of such a possibility is exciting. I would now like to ask Lynn, Gabriela, and Lynn to come up. Our class is very thankful for the knowledge and tools you have imparted on us, and we would like to give you some flowers and a card. Okay, well, the flowers are right there, and anyone in our class, you can sign the card for, okay. Yeah. Yeah, so find us and you can sign the card. Thank you.
Thank you so much to all our speakers. So this is a very important week in the academic calendar. As our students know, it's finals week. and it's the beginning of a lot of ceremonies and a lot of celebrations. And so to begin the ceremonial process, I would like to invite back to the podium President Ramirez and President Lariviere to sign the deed of gift. Okay, so the PCUN Historical Archive is important in and of itself, but it also lays the foundation for current and future research involving the Latino communities in Oregon. So as President Ramirez said, this is living documentation. Our work is not finished. It's just starting. So an important starting point then is the effort of the Latinos Roots Project. And today we have several of the Latino Roots students also gifting their products of their work with several Oregon families into the library's collection. So I would like James Fox to join me at the podium, please. And I'm going to call the students up. This is like a mini graduation. I'm going to call your names, and you're going to come to the podium, and you're going to hand your document to James, which he is graciously going to accept. And as you come up, please, could you share with us the names of the families that you worked with? So, starting with Maria Rogers.
Thank you. The person that I interviewed was or is Armando Morales.
Nora Alvarez.
Hi, thank you. The person I interviewed was Alicia Becerra, and she's from Independence, Oregon.
Charlotte Bartroff. I interviewed Marta Morales. Iris Bull.
I was very grateful to interview Sonia Gonzalez for the project. She's from Woodburn, Oregon. She's a current UO sophomore here at the University of Oregon.
Elizabeth Dalton.
My subject was Emilio Hernandez, and he is from Miles City, Montana, and we will hear him playing drums with Jimmy G. Rubio.
Joel Driver. Close call, Joel. Yeah.
I had the pleasure of speaking with Fidel Guerra Cuevas.
Erdman.
I had the honor of telling the story of Aurora Lopez and her family here in Oregon and in Mexico.
Alexander Evans.
Alex interview Obed Bello.
Hannah Hines Petty.
I would like to say thank you to my Sarah Cartagena, who is from Portland, Oregon, and is a student here at the university.
Elizabeth Miskow.
Hi, I interviewed Meche Lu, and she's a PhD student here at the university.
Lisa Rumler.
I have the privilege and honor of interviewing Sandra Duran Arellano, a sophomore at the University of Oregon and a native of Hillsboro, Oregon.
Ivan Sandoval Cervantes.
I had the pleasure to interview Josefina Ortega, and she's from Guadalajara, Jalisco.
Michael Santino.
I had the honor of interviewing Jose Carlos's family in Woodburn, Oregon. Thank you.
Salom Saron.
I was very happy to interview Jimena Kiev-Gambetta, who lives in Portland and is originally from Uruguay. Thank you.
And Liliana Soto.
I interviewed my mom, who now lives in Hubbard, Oregon. Her name is Rosalina Morales.
Byron's son.
Buenas tardes. I was able to interview both my parents, Byron and Erlinda Sun. Thank you.
And Julia Thornton.
I had the great pleasure of interviewing Evan Bosch. He's a graduating linguistics student from University of Oregon. He's from Staten, Oregon.
And I wanted to turn in the video that I made about Guadalupe Quinn. And we also wanted to honor our kind of Latino roots pioneers, some of whom are here today, who participated in 2009, 2010 in our project.
Connie Mesquita,
Roberto Arroyo and Selene Jaramillo.
José Luis Samano and Emma Pérez,
Patricia Cortés,
Rosemary Villanueva,
María Reyes Cervantes and Benjamín Montes Garcia,
Samuel Recinos,
and Francisco San Pedro and Aurelia Guzmán. Gracias a ellos.
So thank you once again. I think this is the largest crowd I've spoken to in this browsing room. So I so much appreciate your enthusiasm about this project. We all feel so honored, really. Before we move upstairs, though, I do also have to thank a few people who helped to put on this event today, especially Linda Long, Ron Renshaw, Carrie Aronson, and Mandy Garcia from the library, Eli Meyer and Alice Evans from the Center for Latino and Latin American Studies, the entire planning committee from PCUN, and last but certainly not least, our wonderful musicians, who will join us upstairs for some more music, some fun, some food, and some video presentations. Thank you once again for joining us this afternoon.